Hi, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Donovan. Today, in this video, we're gonna discuss about three theories that are related to diplomacy and international relations, which is feminism, Marxism, and realism. During the discussion, we will be including the following 6 considerations. Now, let's take a look at the origin of feminism. First, what is feminism? Feminism is the theory of the political, economic, and social equality between genders and sexes. Quite simply, feminism is about all genders having equal rights and opportunities. Now we will be looking at the origin of feminism. When we talk about the origin of feminism, it goes way back to 400 before Christ at Greece, when Athenades defined norms to practice gynecology. Her acquittal in court on a charge of illegally practicing medicine as a woman led to the revocation of a law against female physicians. Next, we will be looking at the instruments of influence of feminism. The first instrument will be gender-based discrimination. The reason a person developed feminism is to challenge the systematic inequalities women face on a daily basis. They want to fight for equality. They hope to reduce the discrimination that women have been received just because of their gender. The second instrument is the violence against women. Since ancient times, women have suffered several abuse and been mistreated. This led to the rise of feminist movement where they are seen to advocate an end to the violence against women and girls. Next, we will be looking at the characteristic features of feminism. The main features of feminism is equality. Feminism means wanting things to be equal for both men and women. Feminism is not hating men. Feminism is not declaring women as superior than men. Feminism simply means everyone should have the same rights, no matter of your gender. Next, we will be looking at the strengths and weaknesses of feminism in relation to contemporary international affairs. The strength of feminism is feminism carves the path of self-respect as well as admiration for women when they are given equal social status in a society. When women are given equal power due to feminism, it encourages them to contribute more to the people around them, both personally as well as professionally. Moreover, they can gain the same opportunity as men. For example, Kamala Harris, the first African American woman Vice President of the United States, proved how this is possible for a woman. Next, let's look at the weakness of feminism. The weakness of feminism is feminism may be used by someone as an excuse to incite some unauthorized movement that might bring unhealthy influence to the society. For example, a few feminists at China recently have their social media account deleted because of their posts which aim to encourage women to fight against patriarchy by not marrying or having children with men. Next, we will be looking at how significant feminism are in shaping today's diplomacy and international relations. To know how significant feminism are, we can look at the achievement of women in today's world. Feminism actually helps to make women viable in today's diplomacy and international relations. For instance, the appointment of Kamala Harris that I mentioned before is a good example that demonstrates why women's power should be viewed globally and how feminism helps women to gain more opportunity and exposure to show the world what they can do in the international area of politics. Next, we'll be looking at how can feminism help us to understand the globalization of world politics. Feminism helps us understand the globalization of world politics by letting us recognize the contribution of women in the world politics. Feminism helps to alter the power balance between men and women. As compared to the past, there are now more women in power. For example, Tsai Ing-wen, the president of Taiwan, the Prime Minister of Germany, Angela Merkel, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern are all women. Recently, Jacinda Ardern has been praised internationally in a way she curbed the spread of COVID-19 in New Zealand. This helps us to realize how much women can actually contribute to the world. Now we will be looking at Marxism. So, what is Marxism? Marxism is both a critical approach that wants to always question the mainstream policy-driven approaches to IR theory, and a classical approach via the philosophical and sociological tradition of its namesake, the philosopher Karl Marx. Now, let's meet Karl Marx, the man who created the Marxism theory, with important contributions from his friend and collaborator Friedrich Engels. Karl Marx is a German philosopher who believed that capitalism is doomed, and he believes that Marxism can offer humanity a better social, political, economic, and cultural understanding of the nature of reality, society, and the individual. Next, we will be looking at the characteristic features of Marxism. So, the first features is basically share the wealth, which means that there are no private property, no wealth, and also no social classes. Second, Marxism aims not simply to analyze the capitalist society, but also to change it. Marx has said that the philosophers have interpreted the world, but the real task is to change the world of society. Next, we will be looking at the significance of Marxism in shaping today's diplomacy and international relations. Marxism shapes today's diplomacy and international relations by arguing that states are exploited by more powerful states. Marxism proposed that the powerful states go through certain measures to perpetuate their power to maintain their hegemony in the world by keeping the weaker countries perpetually weak and perpetually dependent. The best example is through the use of capitalism.
For the instrument of influence, Marxism believes in the real basis of society is the economic structure. Struggle between social classes, specifically between the burghers or capitalists and the proletariat or workers, define economic relation in capitalist economy and will inevitably lead to the revolutionary communism. Marx argued that social classes in the state and social structure emerge from the living system of specific individual on a regular basis. Capitalism system will lead to destruction because of the social classes that rebel. Marx believed that people eventually will have businesses as collective ownership, destroying the social classes and struggle. People will choose communism eventually. For the strengths and weaknesses, we will look on a few points. Strength is everyone have equal access to required human need or resources, from the healthcare, education, and gender equality. For the weaknesses, Marxism wants to abrogate the religion even if everyone is equal because it will meddle and disrupt the equality of people. Marx just believed that religion is not proven to be true in world science. Strength is that it helps facing capitalism issue, especially on monopolization by certain businesses, and we believe it should be state control so state help in giving opportunity to small businesses. Second weakness is that school education controlled fully by states and could create extreme nationalism. Marxism only values science, economy, and political skill rather than artistic. Finally, we will see how today world politics could be seen from Marxism. Marxism believed that economic or materialistic determination provide a tool to understand international relations. The political Marxist critique brought social injustice and class conflict to the center of Marxism. Marxism believed that higher social class take control of the state politically with their wealth and businesses because of the globalization on economy. Economy that led by high class will not be beneficial as it could become national interest. Let's move on to the last theory, which is realism. Many academics were converted to the pessimistic viewpoint after the outbreak of World War II. Following that, realism gained traction in American political science department and dominated the academic study of international relations. Hans Menganter's works are part of realism tradition of international relation theory and regarded as one of three leading American alongside George F. Kennan and Reinhold Niebuhr.
A realist walks into a bar.
Realist walks into a bar and orders a half-empty glass of vodka. Realism is a theory essentially about power and security. States relentlessly seek power and security because they exist in a self-help system. Because in a world where you can never trust anyone, you don't want to be interdependent. Realists don't believe in sort of utopian, muddle-headed schemes that would provide a perpetual peace in the world based on some notion of a natural harmony of interests among states. Instead, realists see the world in terms of tragedy and evil. People choose the lesser evil and try to be as good as they can be in an evil world.
Let's see through the strengths and weaknesses in realisms. Of course, there are a lot of them, but we're going to focus on few of them. The first one is to recognize every country as a sovereign entity. That means every nation has the right to rule itself, so state make decisions that seek to protect its own citizen, property, and interests. Second one, it generates a lot of debate in the field of internal relations, which is contribute to a powerful explanation on the endemic nature of war comprised within international communities. The third strength is that the balance of power among states, where states relentlessly try to outdo each other from advantages and using it to reference superpower status become realization. And now, we see from weaknesses in realism point of view. The first weakness is that it relies on gloomy view of human derived from egoistic, power-hungry, and self-interested, where human will always have conflict-prone nature among each other, and state represented those individuals. Second weaknesses is that it's a never-ending competition to gain advantages, where states try to have higher power such as military, stable politics, compatibility economy, and more influences from lower states. The last weaknesses is that it's have a poor predictive quality because of the first weaknesses. Realists instead do it for their own national interest and not think about the future political impact at their own states or international affairs. Let's see how realism is shaping to the diplomacy and international relations. The first one is the influence on other models such as feminism and social constructivism, where states or other actors enable to define the nature of international relations. The second one is interaction among the states, where the state is interacting to protect the interests of the country and be aware of their diplomatic approaches. And the last one is an understanding on the changes of world politics as states influence and spread their national interests in intergovernmental and global communities. In conclusion, based on realism that we talk, it helps in giving understanding on globalization of the world politics. States put their national interests as their highest gain in international relations, showing the politics is about having advantages among other actors and states. It gave competition among each other countries and even among intergovernmental and other global communities. Take example on Cold War between USA and USSR, where the ideology and military powers influencing the other countries and their diplomatic approaches. One that opposed either eliminated or shunned, such as Fidel Castro in Cuba, and the one supported will get military and economic support, such as Arab country in war with Israel by USSR.